If you grew up in America, there's a good chance a certain toy store jingle is still stuck somewhere in the back of your brain. But nobody ever told you what really happened to the company behind it. It wasn't Amazon that killed it. It was three men in suits who never sold a single toy in their lives. This is a story about debt, about greed, and about a financial playbook that's already killed a dozen companies you grew up with, and is coming for the next one right now. It started in 1948. Charles Lazarus opened a small baby furniture store in Washington, D.C. He noticed something simple. Parents don't just buy one crib. They come back for toys, for birthdays, for every stage of childhood. So he built a store designed around exactly that. By the 1980s, that idea had become a retail empire. Over 1,000 stores, a larger-than-life mascot everyone recognized. For a generation of American kids, this wasn't just a store, it was a destination. For nearly 50 years, this company didn't just sell toys. It sold childhood itself, which is exactly what makes what happened next so hard to watch. In 1994, a small online bookstore called Amazon launched. Nobody in the toy industry took it seriously. Then, in the year 2000, Toys R USA made a decision that would define the next 2 decades for both companies. They signed a deal making Amazon the exclusive online seller of their toys. In exchange, Toys R USA basically stopped building their own website. Why compete with yourself, right? Except that's exactly what Amazon was doing to them. While Toys R USA focused on stores, Amazon quietly built the exact infrastructure, warehouses, logistics, a functioning e-commerce platform that would define the next era of retail. By 2004, Toys R USA realized the mistake and canceled the deal, but it was too late. They had no online infrastructure of their own, and their biggest competitor now had a decade-long head start, built partly on their own toy catalog. In 2005, 3 companies, KKR, Bain Capital, and Vornado Realty Trust, bought Toys R USA for $6.6 billion. On paper, this looked like a rescue. In reality, it was closer to a hostage situation. Here's the part almost nobody explains clearly. This was a leveraged buyout, which means these firms didn't pay for Toys R USA with their own money. They borrowed most of it and then made Toys R USA itself responsible for paying that loan back. Imagine buying a house, but instead of you paying the mortgage, you force the house itself to get a job and pay it for you. That's the basic idea. Overnight, Toys R USA went from a healthy company to one carrying more than $5 billion in new debt. That debt came with a price tag, $400 to $500 million a year, just in interest. Not expansion, not new stores, not competing with Amazon, just interest. Every single year. While Walmart and Amazon were pouring billions into the future, Toys R USA was pouring everything it had into paying off the very deal that was supposed to save it. With hundreds of millions gone every year just to interest, something had to give. Store renovations stopped. The website stayed years behind competitors. Employee hours got cut. The shopping experience that once felt magical started to feel tired. Sales kept slipping. The debt kept compounding. And in September of 2017, Toys R US did what once seemed unthinkable. They filed for bankruptcy. And here's the detail that should make you angry. At the time, Toys R US actually had around $400 million in cash sitting in the bank. They weren't broke because they had no money. They were broke because they owed $5 billion more than that. By March of 2018, the decision was made: liquidation. All 735 U.S. stores closing for good. 33,000 employees lost their jobs. Many of them had worked there for years, some for decades. Under the bankruptcy process, they received little to no severance because after paying off creditors and lenders, there was nothing left for them. Meanwhile, the firms that engineered this deal, KKR, Bain, and Vornado, had already collected roughly $200 million in fees over the years. Management fees, advisory fees, fees charged regardless of how the company was actually performing. Let that sit for a second. The people who ran the company into the ground got paid the entire time they were doing it. The people who showed up to work every day got nothing on the way out. The story doesn't quite end there. In 2019, the brand attempted a small comeback, smaller format stores, a more modest footprint. In 2021, a company called WHP Global bought the brand entirely and partnered with Macy's to open store-in-store locations across the country. It's still around technically, but walk into one of these locations today, and it's clear this is a shadow of what it once was, a licensing deal wearing the name of an empire. Here's what makes this story matter. Even if you never set foot in a Toys R Us US, this exact playbook by a healthy company using its own future earnings as collateral, extract fees for years, and let the company collapse under debt it never chose to take on, has happened again and again. Different names, different products, same three-word cause of death: leveraged buyout. This isn't a story about one company that couldn't keep up with the internet. It's a pattern, a quiet, legal, repeatable playbook that has reshaped American retail for the last 2 decades. So, the next time you hear that a beloved company just couldn't survive the internet, it might be worth asking a different question. Who was actually running it? And who got paid either way? That's all for today. Thanks so much for watching, and if you have any suggestion, or if you have any story that you want me to cover next, let me know in the comments. If you want to see how far this ruthless ambition can actually go, click the video on the left. That's the story of the man who becomes the world's first trillionaire. And if you want to watch a global empire rot from the head down, click the video on the right. See exactly how Nokia's crown didn't just slip, it shattered from the inside out. Pick your next story. Subscribe to see which American giant gets the same treatment next. Trust me, this pattern is far from over.